Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Fun on Weekdays podcast. Just me today, solo and intimate. And it's actually crazy because this is one of my last 5 podcast episodes for the entire year, 2022. 2022, we're finishing it off. We have some fun episodes planned for the rest of the year. But today, I wanted to talk to you about an update on some of the jobs that I've been trying out. So, a couple months ago, wow, I lose track so fast. I don't even know how long ago it was. I shared an episode about how I was just kind of feeling unfulfilled, only doing social media. I took a little bit of a break after doing events to just relax. I felt like majority of the year it was back to back to back. I had no chance to actually sit down and reflect on my life and what I was even doing and if it was what I wanted to be doing. And so in those couple of months that I was reflecting, I lost, is the best word. And I'm not going to get into that because today is a fun episode. It's not a sad one, but I was just lost. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? What am I doing? I don't know. And so I've always been the kind of person that I get hyper fixated on different hobbies and jobs. So when I was younger, I used to think that I wanted to be a teacher. And then I wanted to be an art teacher. And that carried out for a little while until I got into high school. And then I worked in a dress store. And then I wanted to own a small business. And I wanted to own a dress store. But then I was like, no, I want to work for the designer. And then I realized, wait, I want to be the designer. And then I was like, wait, I kind of want to own my own store and do hair. And then also own a wedding venue. So then I ended up going to college for fashion merchandising because at the time, that's what I was fixated on. That's what I wanted to do, was to work for Sherry Hill, work for her long enough that I understood how to build a business, and then from there, take all of that knowledge and then build a business. So, and that is what I did for a little while. But along the way, my mind has wandered a million different directions. I was in high school and we did this. You guys ever do that fake car accident thing for prom, which by the way is absolutely traumatizing. That's kind of fucked up that we did that, isn't it? We just stage a fake car accident of people drunk driving. Well, in high school, I was in that and we did the special effects makeup for it. So we put putty on our face. Then we made it look like we had these gashes and blood and stuff. And that day alone, I remember Googling special effects makeup schools in California. That is how quickly my mind shifts from one idea to the next. And I guess I've just always been the kind of person that my mind wanders on all these different interests and passions that I have, I guess, no matter how small they are. And when I say a passion, I'm not passionate about special effects makeup, but in that moment, I kind of was. Well, I feel like I've always been that kind of person, and I don't know why. I just kind of assumed that when you get older, that changes, and you finally narrow down on exactly what you want to do, and you stick with it. And now I'm older, and I realize that a lot of people don't do that, and so I've recently come to terms with the fact that I am a multi-potentialite. That's a word that one of my followers told me about. I posted a story about how I'm I don't know what I'm doing right now. There's a whole world out there. How do you pick one thing? And she told me that's what I was. So I Googled it, and basically it just means someone with multiple interests that you have a hard time choosing what you want to pursue. And I think for so long, I've thought that that was a really negative thing. I don't know. I feel like we're conditioned to believe that you have to pick a career and then stick with it for at least a year or two before you move on to the next, right? Well, what if I pick a career and then 2 weeks later, I pick a different one? I don't know, as though we're conditioned to believe that that's a bad thing to do. And once you hit 25 years old, 30 years old, 35, 22, doesn't matter how old you are, it gets harder and harder to maybe navigate life when you do have all of these different interests and you're feeling guilty about it. But so this takes me back to the time that I had taken a break from doing the events. I was just kind of figuring it out. And I'm not going to lie, when I quit my job, I don't know how to say this. It's not that I wanted to get a normal job to relate to people anymore, to be quote unquote relatable, but I just didn't really have that much confidence in Fun on Weekdays, I guess, a couple of months ago. And I was just really, really lacking direction with what it could potentially be because I didn't know who I was. And forewarning, I still don't know who I am, but I feel like I have a better sense of who I am. And I think that more projects recently have really helped me be motivated again and find direction for Fun on Weekdays. So in that time where I didn't know, I'm not going to lie, I did kind of want to give up. I had a sponsorship come through that I was like, I don't know if I want to renew this because I don't know if I want to continue the podcast. I don't know if this is something that I see myself doing. And again, in that moment, that was a time where I forgot about this and I was on to the next thing. And the next thing that I was on to was working in a bridal store. I kind of thought that if I went back to my roots, where I felt really passionate about and I felt a sense of purpose in what I was doing, working in a bridal store, selling dresses, having that like intimate moment with someone, then maybe I would have direction in my life again. And so I interviewed at 2 bridal stores, and I won't say the names, but there are 2 in Austin. And it was a great experience. I'm not going to lie. The first place I went in and they were only hiring for a weekend position. And in my mind at the time, I wanted more than that. I really lack structure and routine in my life right now, working for myself. I find it very hard to hold myself accountable, to say the least. And I'm a pretty spontaneous person. So every single day I could totally put something off if I wanted to. And I've said this before, but when I did a podcast episode with Courtney, she talked about how finding confidence in yourself is keeping the promises you make to yourselves. And I seriously mentioned this in an episode not that long ago, but I realized that maybe why I was feeling so insecure and so lost was because I had no confidence in myself. And I think part of that is because I put off so many of the things that I say I'm going to do because I work for myself. So I was thinking, okay, if I go back and work at this dress store, it'll create routine in my life, and then I can have that separation of work and life again, and then everything will be good and jolly. Well, what happened was I interviewed at the first place. Like I mentioned, they were only hiring for the weekend, just one day a week. And I didn't think that was enough, but they were really great people. It was a very, very casual interview. I mean, I wouldn't even say it was an interview. It was just like a conversation in a back room sitting on a plush couch, just like the one that I'm on right now. And it lasted maybe 10 minutes. And they told me that they have some girls that are coming back to work for the busy season that they need to touch base with, girls that are in college, if they're going to be coming back home, if they're planning to stay in Austin after they graduate. Basically, they just needed to touch base, figure out who all was going to be working for them in the spring if they had an opening. And then the second place that I had applied and interviewed at, they were looking for someone as more of a full-time sales associate. And so that interview was a little bit more formal. We sat outside and I dressed up. I was in my like Spanx dress pants, which by the way, those are so nice. I'll link them on my Macy's page if Macy's has them, which I'm pretty positive they do. Best interview pants. Dang, my butt looked good that day. Not like the girls interviewing me were checking it out, but who knows? I felt confident, and that's all that mattered. And I haven't interviewed for a job in person since high school, because, well, yeah, all of my interviews up until this point had been online or virtual, especially my first job after college. So I didn't really know what to expect. I was prepared. I redid my resume, which realized that I probably could have done a little bit better. I'm a little bit rusty in the resume department, but the interview went well. And basically the same thing happened with them. Was they just needed to figure out when they were looking to hire someone and if I was a good fit. And they told me that they would let me know after the holidays. Well, a month and a half passes and I hadn't heard back from either store. And honestly, in my mind, it was kind of like, okay, well, if I haven't heard back yet, then I didn't get it. And I expected myself to be upset that I didn't hear back. But if anything, I think I realized it was more so just my ego was maybe a little bit bruised, because I was like, oh, well, why the heck didn't they, reach back out to me right away? I thought the interview went great. And I realized I wasn't upset that I thought that I didn't get the job. And so in the past month and a half, when I was waiting to hear back, I had 2 really exciting projects that I was working on. One of them being my flavor collaboration with Waterboy, which has been almost a year in the making. I think even more than a year in the making. I mean, we started talking about this last summer. I'm talking like 2021 summer. And this was before Connor and I were even dating. We were just trying to figure it out. I would go and meet Connor and Mike at this coffee shop called Codependent all the time. And I remember writing on a piece of paper this, little drawing of Danielle Drip because their mascot is called Danny Drip. So I want to make her cutesy and girly. And I'm like, what if I did a flavor? And it was just kind of words in the air. It was never a plan of action until more recently over this summer, 2022, we were like, okay, we should do the flavors. So then we flew to Utah. We went to their flavor lab. We went to their new distribution center and we tried a bunch of different flavors. And it's funny because when my flavor came out, people are like, you did all that work just to pick fruit punch? But I'm like, you don't understand though. We tried so many different variations of the fruit punch. It's not like they just gave it to us and we were like, okay, good to go. Because they give you a fruit punch and maybe it's too citrusy or it's too cherry or it's too syrupy. So we would change the formulation of that flavor, if that makes sense. So that took quite a bit of time and it was really cool to see all of that come to life. So of course, in the past month and a half, we're doing a photo shoot and then I'm starting to get all of the packaging ready, which they did majority of the work, I have to say. I was signing all of the inserts. So if you did order a Waterboy, that is my handwriting in there. I signed every single damn one and my wrist is still a little bit sore from doing that. Plus, I'm left-handed, so left-handed with a Sharpie marker is not a good combination because I smeared a lot of them. So sorry if yours is smeared. But that came out, and then we ended up packaging and shipping all of the orders in a day. It sold out in 8 hours, and that alone, I think just, I don't know, being surrounded by them and doing something that I was really excited about again, it was just kind of inspiring for me. It reignited some type of flame in me, I guess, which I had been longing for the past couple of months. And then following that, I had the opportunity to go to Dallas with Dibs. I've been working with Dibs since the beginning of the year, and we have a kit that came out recently, and it's 3 of my favorite products in a makeup bag that they created, has my name on it, which is really, really weird. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I just don't realize what's going on in my life until I sit down and I look at a montage of the entire year and then it's like, whoa, what? I highly recommend doing that. I think you should sit down and you should make a TikTok to that sound that's like, and that is your 2022. Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't know. I made a video to it recently. You should make a video to that audio so you can look back on your entire year and really just take a second to congratulate yourself on your success. But so the Dibs thing, it started with the makeup kit, and then we started talking about, wait, what if I made my own product? What if it was like something that I specifically created, the colors that I want, and my idea of what it should be? Obviously, I'm not going to tell you what the idea is because I don't want to leak it. I wouldn't want to give it to you before I'm supposed to. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm supposed to share this, but whatever. You guys are my close friends, so I'll share it with you. So I started working on that. And again, it was just another project that really, really inspired me again. And so in the month and a half that I hadn't heard back from the bridal store, I was just like, I think I'd be totally fine now if I don't get that job. And am I still interested in it? Yeah, totally. But I feel like I have some really good momentum and things that are going on around me that I could maybe lean into that. And maybe if I become more confident in myself, and I'm not going to lie, these 2 projects definitely did help build my confidence, then maybe I should just put that confidence into putting more work into Fun on Weekdays. Because I've had so many thoughts of what it could be, I just never trusted that they were good enough or that I could actually execute it. So all that to say, last week I checked my emails and I got an email back from the bridal store and I got the job. And I expected myself to be more excited than I was, but it was almost like, oh shit, what do I tell them? Because in my mind, I had already committed to the fact that I wasn't going to do it. So now what? So I replied, and I'm not against it by any means. I still think it'd be so fun and it would give me something to look forward to and just like a moment to myself. I do think that I share a lot of my life online, and a lot of the work that I do is also online. So working in a store would just be kind of something that I get to enjoy personally, if that makes sense. So I responded and let them know where I was kind of at with my head, and just said, when I interviewed, I was able to commit 4 to 5 days a week and all of my weekends to you. And now currently I'm going to be hiring an assistant. Oh shit, that's a whole nother guys, we got to talk about the assistant role. Okay, let me get through this part first. So I said, I'm going to be hiring an assistant, and with that, I'll be in charge of managing someone full time, so I won't have the same availability that I once said that I would when I was first interviewing. So I would love to reconnect with you to figure out if we're on the same page and if this is still a good fit for what you are looking for at your store. And I haven't heard back. I probably don't expect to hear back for a little bit, though. I mean, this is such a busy time of the year, and it's okay. It's really okay. I'll probably follow up sometime this week. But yeah, I guess I'll have to keep you guys updated on what's going on with the bridal store situation. So that's where I'm at with the bridal store. It is kind of in the past, but like, I don't know, it could be in the future. Trying to figure it out. And then the situation with the Pilates instructing. So I also mentioned that I wanted to teach Pilates. And in order to teach Pilates, I had to finish a certain number of classes. And I'm not going to lie, it's been very confusing because every time that I go into the gym, I'll talk to one person that'll be like, oh, follow up an email so we can get on training. But then I follow up and they're like, oh, you have more classes to do. But then the other person at the gym says I don't have more classes to do. So just kind of confusing. But again, with the holidays, I was in San Antonio for Thanksgiving, and then I was just in Dallas, and I was in Park City, and now I'm going home to Cleveland, and I haven't really had much time to finish taking these classes. I thought that I finished them, but apparently I have 4 more left. So I'm trying to get them done by the end of the year. I am still very interested in teaching Pilates. It just hasn't been the forefront of my priorities right now because it's a holiday season. I have a lot of other commitments that I cannot be late on. I have deadlines. And so Pilates is still an interest, but not a priority, if that makes sense. First week of December, it is officially holiday season. Whether you are going to holiday parties, seeing your family back at home, seeing some old friends, maybe you have some winter weddings you're going to. I have added a bunch of winter styles to my landing page at Macy's. It is Macy's.com/FOW, from formal dresses to just winter must-haves. It's all on my landing page. Again, that's Macy's.com/FOW. Happy early holidays, everyone. So in addition to thinking I was going to work in a dress store and teach Pilates, while I was doing my partnership with Dibs, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a makeup artist. I would love to do that. I want to do bridal makeup. And I spent my most recent flight home from Utah just watching 2.5 hours worth of bridal YouTube tutorial makeup videos. And I was like totally set on it. Actually, this girl messaged me and asked me to do her makeup in Punta Cana next year in April. Yes, April. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Why not? It was one of those days that I was set on becoming a makeup artist. And I'm still going to follow through with this. I would never bail on her. But there were like a couple days where I decided I was going to be a makeup artist. And then just 2 days ago, I decided that I want to get into real estate and that I want to have a rental property that's fun on weekdays themed, and it's in Austin, and there's a whole itinerary of weekday things that you can do. And honestly, I've been driving myself fucking crazy with all of these ideas of all of these different things that I want to do, that I've been getting really, really, really frustrated because I just keep telling myself, like, why is it so fucking hard? Just pick one thing and stick to it. Why can you not stick to anything that you say you're going to do? And I thought that it was such a bad, annoying thing. But recently, I think I've started to think about it a little bit differently, where I'm like, wait, this is actually a really cool thing that I could lean into. I have a lot of interests and things that I want to do in life, so why shouldn't I try them all out? I totally should do that, because if I don't, I'll always wonder what if. And so I've decided that in order to be able to try all of these things that I want to do, and in order to grow Fun on Weekdays to what it could potentially be, I need to hire an assistant. So people have been asking me since the time that I started if I would be hiring an assistant or an intern, or if I needed help with events or a photographer or a vendor. I get questions every single day. And the day is finally here that I have confidence in myself that I can manage a full-time employee. So this is what I kind of mentioned before is I decided that if I'm going to hire an assistant, this needs to be a full-time employee that is like fully committed to helping me grow Fun on Weekdays, aside from it just being a podcast. It can be a podcast, but it could also be that rental property that I was talking about. But I can't have the rental property if I'm doing both myself, because I'll spread myself thin and then both of them will just be instead of both of them being great. It can also be hosting events in different cities, whether I'm there or not, whether it's 30 people or 300 people. I can do events nonstop year round, but I would need somebody to dedicate all of their time with me to be able to plan that and execute it to the standard of what I would want it to be, I think is a better way. I can grow the community, but right now I think I've also felt a little bit lost because I know that so much of my energy is being put into different categories. And part of that is my own doing because I get distracted by these new shiny hobbies and jobs that are in my face. But I decided that hiring an assistant will help me, grow Fun on Weekdays. But then at the same time, maybe it'll take a little bit off of my plate so I can focus on those other things that I want to do. So all that to say, who wants me to be their boss? I put out the application yesterday. I'm looking for someone to be my right-hand person, like my go-to for literally everything. If I have a partnership and I need photos or a videographer, they can go and find that person. If I need to redo something in my office, they can help me do that. If I need to start an email marketing and start sending out newsletters, I need somebody that has experience doing that because I don't. I have a website and I have merch, but I manage it all myself. I've made my own website. It's honestly probably pretty shitty. I don't really know. So I could use help with that. And in terms of hosting events, I've worked with different event planners, but to have one consistent person to be able to travel with me and to just be my person that I can go to if I need help with anything, I think I've put it off for a while because I didn't think that I had enough work to give someone a full-time job. Like this is going to be their full-time salary. I don't know. I just never committed to hiring someone. But then when I was in Dallas with Dibs, I also had like a 3.5-hour meeting with my managers. I've been signed to J1S Talent since February of 2021, and they're so helpful. They help me with the podcast. They help me with all of my brand partnerships, and they manage so many different creators. And the main reason why I love them so much is because they are so encouraging of anything that you want to do beyond social media, and they really support you in that. So if I wanted to start rental properties, they would be there to help me find people to do that with me. If I want to hire an assistant, they're going to help me go through all of the applications and narrow it down and do the first round of interviewing. They have been really encouraging of building a brand beyond just ads on TikTok and Instagram. And I was talking with them about just the logistics of hiring someone because I was thinking like, how does payment work? Like, I don't know how to get somebody on my payroll. I mean, I have Fun on Weekdays LLC. Would they technically be hired by Fun on Weekdays LLC? So luckily my CPA was in Dallas when I was there, and we kind of talked through how that would work. And then we talked about benefits, and it's like, well, if I'm going to have a full-time employee on salary, how do they get healthcare and dental insurance and life insurance and like a 401k? I can't provide that on one person. I'm not even like a full business, but I can. I just didn't think that I could. And then when I had that conversation with them, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe this actually is a possibility. Maybe this isn't as hard as I thought it was. Maybe I wanted it to be harder because then I'd have an excuse of why I haven't done it yet. So I decided with them that I was going to hire an assistant. And if you're listening to this and you're looking for a job or you're looking for a sign and you sound like what I'm looking for, I need somebody that is goal-oriented, is super organized, is creative, and they like to be the person that is planning all the logistics. Do you know what I mean? So I sent out the application, and I'm not going to lie, right away, people sent me their media kits with like their rates. And I was so confused. I was like, did I not explain this role? I don't know. I thought maybe people thought that I was looking for influencers to pay them to post about fun on weekdays, but that's totally not the case. I'm looking for a full-time employee. You'll travel with me. You'll have the benefits. We'll get it all worked out. You will have a livable, good salary in Austin. Trust me, I know how expensive it is to live here. I'm looking for someone that lives in Austin. And if you don't live in Austin, then you're willing to relocate in like 30 days. Ideally, I'm looking for someone for the beginning of next year. I really want to start 2023 off on a good note. Typically, I'm the kind of person that I like to plan things the week of or a couple days before. And ideally, my assistant will be the complete opposite, where they love to plan 2 to 3 months in advance. And they can hold me accountable, and I can hold them accountable as well. So I'm really looking forward to this next year and what it has to offer. And I think that hiring an assistant and bringing on another person to Fun on Weekdays is going to be a huge game changer. And who knows, maybe next year, while I'm doing all of this, I'll decide that I want to be a karate instructor, or that I want to be a chef, or that maybe I want to be a teacher. Because at the end of the day, my mind wanders, my mind fixates on different hobbies, and I'm going to start to lean into that instead of pushing it away. And instead of feeling bad about it, I'm going to be proud that I at least have these things. And by the way, if you're listening to this and you've known all along what you wanted to do, maybe you want to be a lawyer or a dentist or a teacher or work in healthcare, or I'm trying to think of literally every single field that I could think of. If you've known what you've wanted to do and you've stuck to that and you've never swayed from that, that is great. That's awesome. I am so jealous that you have such a clear line of what you want to do. And for anyone who's listening that has no idea what the fuck you want to do, if you're 21, 18, 16, 35, 45, doesn't matter how old you are, like, I think that's also a really inspiring thing too. I think that can also be beautiful if you decide to look at it that way. And so I'm going to start to look at it that way. This is a short episode today. I just kind of wanted to do a solo episode, check in with you and give you that job update that you may have been wondering about. I felt like I owed you that honesty. I don't feel like a failure. I don't feel like a sellout or anything. I don't feel like I was being dishonest, because I really did pursue it. And I just think at the end of the day, maybe it's not a good fit, but also like maybe it is. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out what my life is, and I'm taking you guys along the journey of that. And some of you might like that I change my mind all the time. Some of you might be really annoyed by it, but I'm proud to share the journey of life that I have had in the past couple of years with all of you, and I'm very thankful that so many of you have tuned in to listen to this chaos every single week. And if you are interested in being my assistant, there are more details on my podcast Instagram page. It's Fun on Weekdays Podcast. You can find the job posting there. It kind of goes into what experience I'm looking for. And then the application is in the bio. You guys, if you DM or email me your resume, automatic no, just because it's so unorganized. It has to be through the application link. So please, please do that. Put your thinking caps on, get creative, and think, if Jenna was applying for this job, how would she apply? And good luck. Okay, I'll talk to you guys next Tuesday, and I'm so excited to give you the updates on what happens with the assistant and the holidays and wrap up 2022. Love you guys. See you next Tuesday. Bye.